Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we are going to be officially previewing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Week 11 matchup versus the Los Angeles Rams. This is kind of going to be talking about all the storylines that the Buccaneers have going into this upcoming game versus the Rams on Monday Night Football. The first storyline that I kind of want to mention here is going to be how Andrew Whitworth is out. I've been mentioning this all week because of how important it is. The Rams are going to be without their starting left tackle, and you guys all know, in my opinion, left tackle is probably a top three in terms of most important positions in football. I would say pass rusher and quarterback are up there as well. Left tackle is also up there as well. Protecting a lot of quarterbacks' blind sides, you need to have a very good left tackle to be successful in the league, and the Rams just lost theirs. So they will be playing a backup left tackle. I mentioned how Jason Pierre-Paul can benefit from a backup left tackle being in there, and yeah, it should be very, very interesting to see how this Rams offense operates now that they're going to have that backup in there. I expect a little bit more pressure now on Jared Goff, which will be a good way to rattle him into making some bad decisions that we saw, in a way last year in terms of Goff getting hit a couple of times, throwing a pick or two there, maybe even a fumble a little bit. So, getting as much pressure on Goff is going to be important, and that just got a whole heck of a lot easier with Andrew Whitworth being out, because Andrew Whitworth is still one of the better left tackles in the NFL. I know he's a little bit up there in age. I think he might be 38, but he is still, in my opinion, one of the better guys. And it does suck to see players get hurt, but that does make the Buccaneers defense's job a lot easier. So pay attention to that backup left tackle. Pay attention to guys going up against that backup left tackle, Will Golston, Jason Pierre-Paul, among whoever else they decide to put up against that player. Let's see how that goes. The next storyline I want to pay attention to is going to be how the Buccaneers bounced back versus the Carolina Panthers and are hopefully back on track. They had a horrible game versus the Saints. We all know it. I hate bringing it up, but it needs to be brought up because the Buccaneers did it to themselves. But then they had a phenomenal bounce back win versus the Panthers on my birthday, which was a lot of fun to see that, I'll tell you what. And now they're going to be playing a Rams team that is definitely up there in playoff contention with the expanded playoffs. The NFC West is absolutely crazy this year. I'm recording this on a Thursday night. The Seahawks just defeated the Arizona Cardinals, I believe, to move up to 8-3. I think the Cardinals are 6-4, and I think that the Rams are 6-3. So all three of those teams could realistically make the playoffs. I think they will all make the playoffs. And the Rams, I think, are a little bit better than what their record indicates. I'm not going to say that they're the best team in the NFC. I don't think that at all, but they are definitely up there in that conversation for top, 2, 3, 4 team in the NFC. They really are. They are a team that you cannot underestimate under any circumstances. But the Buccaneers are now on the path of coming off of a huge win versus the Panthers, and they are looking to keep that momentum rolling now versus the Rams. So let's pay attention to see how these teams fare against each other. Will the Buccaneers go back down, or will they continue with the insane momentum that they brought back versus that Panthers win that they had? So let's pay attention to that. The next storyline I want to mention is Jared Goff and Sean McVay getting revenge on Tom Brady. Now, Tom Brady personally did not do anything to Sean McVay and Jared Goff besides basically stealing their happiness, because all of you remember a couple of years ago, the Rams had played in the Super Bowl versus the New England Patriots. Bill Belichick did his Bill Belichick things. Tom Brady had a good game overall, and the Rams' insanely creative and unique offense was just absolutely decimated and shut down. Now, I don't think that Jared Goff and Sean McVay blamed Tom Brady for that game at all. They probably blamed themselves more than anything, but I'm sure it would feel nice to them to get revenge on the quarterback who helped steal a Super Bowl away from them. Not necessarily steal, but helped beat them in the Super Bowl. It might feel like a little bit of some good revenge for both those guys and whoever else was going up against Tom Brady in that game, Aaron Donald and, basically most of that Rams team. But y'all know how Tom Brady works. The guy's super competitive. He's insanely competitive. I have a video series coming out soon where I'm going to be talking about I'm going to be talking about Tom Brady and his lifestyle and things like that, and just the overall competitiveness that he has as a human being. And Tom Brady don't care if you're trying to get revenge. Tom Brady's going to say, hey, that's cool, let me beat you again. That's how Tom Brady conducts his business, sir. So let's see how that goes. Jared Goff, Sean McVay, probably Aaron Donald, and some other guys as well. They're going to be going into that game with a little bit more fire underneath them to prove, they are one of the better teams in the NFC, and also prove that, hey, Tom, you might have gotten us once, but we're going to try and get you again. But, Tom's also coming into that game going, that's cool, man. I'm just going to beat you guys again. It felt great last time. It'll feel good again. So that's kind of the mentality. I know I'm speaking a lot for a lot of people here, but it's fine. Who cares? The second to last storyline I want to mention here is going to be Chris Godwin's overall health. He is dealing with a fracture in his finger. In my opinion, he probably shouldn't have played the past couple of games because he's dealing with a splint, and he really is having a tough time catching footballs. He hasn't had any drops or anything, but I really just don't like the idea of putting him out there. Can he catch a football? Yes, he can technically catch a football, but there's so many guys that you can put out there who are fully healthy, who don't have a fractured finger that they're dealing with, who can do good things for you. So I kind of get it strategically. Chris Godwin is at least a decoy, if anything, but in my opinion, I wouldn't want to run the risk of, further injuring that finger and also just having it hamper your game plan, because any target that's thrown Chris Godwin's way could just be an ineffective target simply because he can't catch it that well because of what he's got going on with his fingers. So overall, I don't like the decision that he's been played the past couple of weeks. It risks further injury, and also it's not that he hasn't been ineffective. He's had some, in the Panthers game, he had a pretty good game. I think he almost had 100 yards, but I just don't like the idea of a guy going out there with a splint on his finger, catching passes with a cut glove so that he can have that splint on there. That's just my opinion. Let me know your thoughts about that down in the comment section below. But yeah, I only had 4 storylines written down. I didn't have a ton of notes written down for this preview video, but this should be a very fun game. 2 of the top NFC teams going up against each other. They match up very, very well, in my opinion. Ronald Jones has been having a good year so far this year. He's almost to 1,000 yards, by the way. I think he's 4th right now in rushing yards, so that's very, very good. Tom Brady's been great. The receiving core has been great. Offensive line has been good in general, minus some certain players and some certain situations, and the Bucs are one of the better teams in the NFC, in my opinion. On that flip side, you have a Rams team who has been pretty decent on defense for the most part. They've been pretty good on offense. Their rushing game, I think, does leave a little bit left to be desired, but overall they've been efficient in terms of red zone running and things like that. Malcolm Brown, also as well as Darrell Henderson. I don't think that those guys should be underestimated as running backs. The offensive line has taken a blow with Andrew Whitworth on that Rams team, but Jared Goff has been just typical Jared Goff stuff, man. He's been up and down. He's been all right. I always feel like the Rams could be better if they, were able to get more out of Goff, and I think that we have seen that in certain situations, but with Goff, I don't know. I don't know what to think about him anymore. Like, where does he stand? He's not elite, that's for sure, but I think he's a good quarterback, but is he a great quarterback? I don't know. I don't know. It's tough to call with things like that, but I think that these teams stack up very well against each other. I'm excited to see what's going to happen in terms of both these teams, 2 of the best teams in the NFC going head-to-head. The Buccaneers do have a little bit of a unique opportunity right now, as the Saints are dealing with Drew Brees being out for at least 2 weeks due to some rib and lung injuries that he's got going on. Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill will be the quarterback in that next 2 games. Sean Payton has not said who that is going to be. So if the Buccaneers continue their winning ways, they could regain that first place in the NFC South, depending on how these next couple of games go. They are tough games. The Rams is a very tough game. The Chiefs is a very tough game. But if they do come out of those 2 games with wins, or even won a game with a win, I think not only do they really cement themselves as one of the better teams in the NFC, but they do have a legitimate chance to get that NFC South title again and really make some noise, and maybe get that bye week in the playoffs. We'll just have to wait and see for that. But overall, guys, that's really going to be it for this video. I know it was a little bit more of a loose preview than I usually do here on the channel, but, hey, it is what it is. Sometimes you just got to let loose, have fun, and stuff like that. Just hang out and talk. So anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Let me know your thoughts about all the things that I talked about down in the comment section below. And what are some other storylines that you're going to be keeping an eye on in this upcoming game? But anyway, guys, I will see you in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs!